change for a blind man.
There you go, mister.
Oh, thank you, Dad. Thank you. Hey, Patch. I think we're on, huh?
So, no developments then?
Dave hasn't come rushing back home, if that's what you mean.
He can't treat you like a princess, and you're best off without him.
So everyone keeps saying.
How was the honeymoon?
Ah, pretty exotic for a weekend decorating the sitting room.
Oh, I don't know. It was one of those moments. Well, there are moves afoot to get you both out tonight. Well, to make up for the lack of an official celebration.
Yes, that's very nice, but we haven't made any arrangements for the children.
Well, I don't know. It's a pretty good excuse for everyone to come to us. We can combine a belated housewarming with a belated wedding reception. What do you think?
Once you finish this, I have another job for you. We've been given the privilege of providing private surgical facilities for none other than Lord Anthony Stewart Walsh, QC, Lord Lieutenant of the county. Mr. Rose will operate personally.
What's he in for?
Patient details are confidential.
Ingrowing toenail. It's on the list.
Toenail.
And I want to be able to see my face in the brass taps. Our guest is used to the highest standards of domestic excellence. I'll be round to inspect your handiwork later.
Right, well, I'll step into town and get some emergency brasso.
Why does Lizzie keep going on about Dave after what he's done to her?
She might be putting on a brave face, but I know my girl. She'd have the two-timing creep back like a shot.
What, even if he's done something really bad?
Well, he's already shacked up with his fancy piece. How much worse could it get?
I'm afraid I don't see the problem, Doctor.
A wedding gift with our sincere felicitations.
Well, it's just that I intend to continue practicing under my maiden name. Oh, well, I suppose confusion may well arise with two Dr. Ormerods in the hospital.
Very modern, I'm sure.
So if you could see it replaced, Mr. Harper.
Don't want to work away, doing just what they all say. But work hard, boy, and you'll find one day have a job like mine. 'Cause I know for sure.
You, come here. There must be something stuck in the outlet. Hop up there and give it a good shove with this.
My dad said not to go in there with the machine running.
Either get up there or get your card. It's up to you. Oi, Arthur!
Private care will provide much-needed income for this hospital.
As long as it's not at the expense of our national health patients.
Don't give me that egalitarian nonsense.
I was going to suggest that we detail one of our nursing staff as the dedicated carer for his lordship. Nurse Taylor, maybe?
A pretty face would certainly speed his recovery.
And take one of the staff from the ward. That won't be necessary. He'll be nursed in the same way as the other patients.
I sincerely hope not.
Dr. Goodwin, there's a boy got stuck in some machinery at Bardy's fish meal. They need you there double quick.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Would you like Nurse Taylor to assist?
Yes, please, matron.
Is there any change for a blind man?
Lay off, Rory. It's me, Ken Upkirk.
Oh, Kenneth, I didn't recognise you. I hardly see a thing through these.
Not seen you around in a while.
Yeah, well, I've been a bit off colour, you know, but I mean, a man has to eat.
Well, dog's got to eat at any rate.
You're a gentleman, Ken, that's what you are. A gentleman.
Sam, can I ask you something?
Of course.
If you knew a secret that might upset someone if you told them, but if you didn't tell them, they might carry on acting stupid, what would you do?
Tell them, of course. Go on, who's been talking about me?
If you recall, I issued express instructions, all available staff to welcome our VIP patient on his arrival, which will be in 10 minutes precisely.
Right, Mr. Harper.
nurse, 10 milligrams.
Help me, Dad!
What's his name?
Stan, he's my boy, Doctor.
Help me, Dad! Get me out, please!
Listen to me, Stan. I'm going to give you an injection which will take away the pain. He's going into shock. Say no, please, nurse.
Hold on, son. Just hold on.
We need to free his arm as slowly as we can. Is there any way of winding the auger back?
Wind it back, lads. Slow as you can.
Sorry.
They're rigging up some kind of a winch to pull him out, Doctor. Are you okay?
Help me, Dad!
Deep breath, Stan, okay?
Help me!
1, 2. As tight as we can. Pressure bandages, please. As tight as we can. Can't afford to lose much more blood. He's not out of danger yet. Okay, we need to get him out of here.
Rory? Rory?
Barney, the gaffer. The poor do is this.
Can you phone ahead to the Royal? Tell them that Dr. Goodwin requires the emergency owner extended by casualty. You got that? Oh, do you want to go in the ambulance?
I'll fetch the wife and pop them on.
Take a taxi, Jack. We'll foot the bill.
Welcome to the Royal, Your Lordship. All standing by to have you witness Vision Theatre. May I introduce Matron?
I hope we'll make you comfortable, sir.
Oh, please don't stand on ceremony. Just call me Anthony.
Harper, hospital administrator. Craig.
Who in the places has brought the ambulance? Find your back, please. Casualty coming through.
What's that stench?
14-year-old boy, hand and lower arm crushed by machinery. We applied pressure dressings, but he's bleeding through.
Could I remind you, the Lord Lieutenant is scheduled for surgery?
Medical emergency takes precedence, I'm afraid. Take him through.
Would it be terribly inconvenient if I observed? Always been riveted by the mysteries of medicine.
Pleasure. Have you gowned and masked in no time. Nurse!
He's had a massive hematemesis. His pulse is racing and his blood pressure is very low. Better cross-match 6 units and get a Hartman's drip going, all right?
Nurse, thank you. Rory. Rory, can you hear me?
Gorgeous girl within my grasp. I must have died and gone to heaven. Huh?
You're in the Royal, Rory, again. I found you unconscious on the prom.
Oh, sister, I thought that you'd packed in the Bride of Christ routine and run away with me.
Now, you won't be needing this in here.
Hey, listen, I marked that bottle. You know, giving none a sniff of the hard stuff, you won't see it for dust.
Right. Just... Does that hurt?
No, Doctor.
Okay. His liver's hard and enlarged. Tell me, Rory, how much alcohol do you drink a day?
Oh, well, now, I like the odd drop, you know, but just for medicinal purposes.
Right. Well, I think I'm going to have a second opinion. If you don't mind, I'd like a colleague to come and have a look at you.
Hey, where's my dog? Where is she? I mean, if I'm in here, who's looking after Patch? Where is she?
I'd leave him, Mr. Harper. His arm's enough, and I'm past home. Rory will be out in an hour or two to collect him.
If he becomes a nuisance, I shall ask the police to deal with him.
Oh, you heard him. Come on, behave.
Stand by with clamps and swabs, please, Darkness. Clamp. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is a fine old mess. Made a splendid job of mincing his entire arm. What do you think, Doctor?
Looks as if the hand and lower arm are completely ischemic.
Ischemic? Arteries and veins all torn and crushed. No hope of restoring any blood supply. Well, you've done your best, Dr. Goodwin, but I'm afraid the lower limb is non-viable. We're going to have to whip it off. Clamp, please, staff nurse. Poor little blighter. I bet he didn't expect this when he went to work this morning.
You're a lawyer? Isn't it illegal, a boy his age, working machinery?
There is legislation, but it's practically unenforceable. Employers just don't seem to take any notice.
Well, then they should be made to. Otherwise, what's the point of the law?
Dr. Goodwin. Staff nurse Taylor's already limited the assault on my olfactory senses by changing her attire. You, however, to put it bluntly, reek, awfully, of fish. I would suggest a wash and brush-up's in order, after we've finished with this chap. Thank you, nurse. Timber.
Dr. Goodwin's expecting you. If you'd like to come this way.
An up-to-date clinic list, a new pending list for test results, and I've reorganised your bookshelf in alphabetical order.
Thanks. Okay. Look, I hope you don't mind my asking, but is Lizzie coping all right? It's just I'm finding all this hyper-efficiency a bit disconcerting.
Well, she's still fretting over Dave.
Ah, yes, of course. Look, are you free tonight? It's just we're having a bit of a post-wedding party at home.
Oh, hey, lovely. Hey, if it's booze you're after, I can do you a good deal. Wine, spirits for cocktail, sale or return.
Yeah,
hey,
great.
We've even got those party lights in the cellar.
Yes, well, you don't think it's just a little tactless asking Lizzie, under the circumstances?
I think it's just what she needs, Doctor.
I hope so. Thanks.
You'll get shot if Matron catches you in there.
I know. Do us a favour. I've got a change of clothes in my office.
Cost you a pint.
Done. Hey, that nurse Taylor that came out with us today. I was wondering. Harold.
She's a lovely girl. She lost her young man a while ago, you know. She's lived like one of Sister Bridget's mob ever since. About time someone took an interest in her.
A trip out in the ambulance was a fun time for Frankie. Lucky you.
You only really caught me at my best. Growing up covered in slime and stinking of fish cups.
It's about time we had something more decorative around the place than Ken and Alan.
Do I detect a flicker of interest?
I wouldn't say no, if that's what you mean.
Oh, handbags at dawn, eh?
May the best woman win.
This new nameplate had been intended as a wedding gift. I just wish they'd have asked me first.
Well, Harper did mention it. I had no idea it would give such offence.
Gordon, I fought very long and hard to qualify as Dr. Wetherill. I have absolutely no intention of giving her up. Eh?
Of course. Oh, great, terrific. Unreasonable to assume that a newly married woman might actually take her husband's name.
We were lucky to save his life. By the time we arrived at the scene of the accident, he had lost a massive amount of blood.
But he will be all right.
He's crippled for life. He's about as far from all right as you can get.
The doctor's confident he will make a full recovery. And once the wound's healed, we may be able to fit an artificial limb.
You should never have let him step foot inside that place. I told you he was too young.
Not now, Eileen.
Tell him, Jack. He should never have been allowed near that machine. They should have turned the damn thing off.
Well, I knew he shouldn't go down there. He must have ignored instructions.
What will it take to make you speak out? Our son in a coffin?
Mrs. Sanderson.
Staff, do us a favour.
I can't. I've got no what's it in his ingrowing toenail legs.
I've just dropped these off at the patient's bathroom. That new ambulance lad's got a bit of an emergency.
Bit too fond of the hard stuff. Known to you, is he, sister?
He's a bit of a character. He's fond of feigning illness after a drinking session so we can sleep it off in here.
I see this sort of thing far too often. They spend years abusing their bodies, and they turn up and expect us to repair the damage.
Cirrhosis?
I strongly suspect the bleeding originates from esophageal varices. And I'm afraid no surgery of mine is going to be able to stop that.
So we just transfuse him, keep his blood pressure up, and, well, hope that it stops on its own.
Worth a try, certainly. But the prognosis is very poor. Very poor, indeed. I would say the poor blighter's had it.
Oh, what's the old fraud reckon he's got this time then, eh? Smallpox? Bubonic plague? Come on, hand him over.
Well, it depends if you make it worth my while.
Well, I've already pulled the plug, so I can't ask you to join me, can I?
Cheeky.
Name your price.
You doing anything tonight?
How about dinner at Giovanni's?
You are holding up the Lord Lieutenant's operations staff nurse. If you kindly consent to joining us in theatre.
There's a party at the Ormerods later. Take it from there, shall we?
She described it as a death trap. It appears the factory's run without much regard for safety.
Only set him on at the factory for a few weeks, till he could leave school, legal-like. Then he was going out on the boats. One of the trawlers agreed to take him on.
All he ever wanted, to go to sea.
Not much chance of that now.
Which is why, if you can get your trade union behind you, you might find that you've got a case against the factory. Or for compensation.
Union. Last bloke who joined up got slung out on his ear as soon as boss found out.
Maybe this is something we can discuss later.
Mum?
Been shopping, Hopkirk?
Just a few supplies, Mr. Harper.
I'd be fascinated to learn the precise medical use of cherry brandy, gin and cocktail cherries.
They're for the Lord Lieutenant, Mr. Harper. He's organised a cocktail party for the hospital top brass to show his gratitude.
Top brass, eh?
Don't tell me they've come for Patch.
Looks like your owner's going to be with us for some time. We have neither the facilities nor the finances to take in domestic pets. This is the kindest solution for both parties.
Well, Ken's organised the booze.
Oh, great. And there's some vol au vents in the freezer, so they can go straight in the oven. Min?
Mr. Johnson's rung again. He wants a home visit.
Oh, no. Can it wait?
Oh, he said it was urgent.
Oh, OK. Tell him I'll pop in on my way home. Oh, dear. Looks like you're going to have to manage the vol au vents on your own, I'm afraid.
Well, you know me. I love a challenge. See, there's a nice glass of wine ready waiting. I'll see you later. Dr. Ormerod.
I drove him away, didn't I? Always going on at him when he stripped his bike engine in the kitchen. Complaining about him going to football.
Stop going on as if it were your fault. He's the one to blame for not knowing a good thing when he was married to it.
So how about letting us take your mind off it at Dr. Ormerod's party?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, come on, half an hour won't kill you, will it?
Go on, then.
Hopkirk, pursue that animal.
That's me, girl.
But don't expect me to enjoy myself.
Oh, little patch, how are you? It's not much something for you. Don't tell the mates to look at this.
I didn't know you were with us again, Rory.
I'm not feeling so well, matron.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm afraid we can't have a dog on the ward.
We have already made arrangements with the dog warden.
Listen, you can't stick her in a kennel. She's never been on her own at night since she was a little puppy, have you, Patch?
Well, Kenneth seems to have something of an affinity with the animal. Perhaps he could organise something more suitable.
Yes, go on, I'll sort her out.
But you're a gentleman, Ken.
How is he?
Not up to visitors. Doctor had to amputate.
It's a crying shame.
Yeah. And the buck stops with you. No one had any business near that machinery while it was turned on, least of all a 14-year-old boy. Looks like appalling working practice to me.
You'll find nothing amiss at my place. Will you, Jack? Tell him to get well soon.
You can't let him get away with
A
this.
moment. If you don't mind, Doctor.
Why should he cover up for his employer's negligence?
Well, that's obvious. If he speaks out, he loses his job.
He has a duty to prevent this from happening again.
Maybe. But right now, all he cares about is his son and the fact that he nearly lost him. As far as he's concerned, politics can go hang. Here we are. Cheers. Cheers.
Dr. Ormerod, Gordon, do you mind if I change the music?
Help yourself.
Charming home you have.
Oh, thank you. Well, we're getting there.
I'd make the most of the first flush of wedded bliss if I were you. It may be exhausting, but it's mercifully short-lived. Drink, matron.
So, I see you managed without me.
By the skin of my teeth. How was your patient?
No, nothing that couldn't have waited. Mind you, the one time I do put my foot down will be the time there is actually something wrong with him. He's lying in a crumpled heap on the living room floor, so...
Great floss, sir.
It's our song. We had our first dance to this as man and wife.
Hang on, I'll change the record.
Matron, I'm just going to see if I can rustle up some whiskey.
Cheers. Well, I needed something to do when I came out the RAF, didn't I?
When the novelty of flying around the world had worn off.
No, it's the knobs who fly the planes. Those grease monkeys keep them up in the air. I ended up seeing more of the undercarriage in the cockpit. So when I left, I thought, put your skills to use, and then I ended up here with you lovely people.
And what exactly attracted you to our humble little hospital?
Well, you see, word has it that this is where you find all the prettiest nurses, so...
And you wouldn't be paying attention to something like that if there was a Mrs. Franklin.
No, don't suppose I would.
There's a fab club on the seafront. Cheap drinks, open night.
Ah, sorry, I can't. Tonight I'm spoken for.
Got to start you up. Mr. Rose seemed to go in slow motion with that last patient.
Very nice.
Oh, this old thing.
Can we get you one of these cocktails?
Cheers.
You could have asked before you borrowed it.
I'd have done the same if you'd have had a big day.
Fast work, man.
Looks like the best woman won, doesn't it?
Are you sure you've thought this through, mate?
If I can provide evidence that he's ignoring every piece of safety legislation known to man, then Stan's parents might just be persuaded to take him to court. What do you think?
Well, yeah, just let me sort of know, that's all.
You don't waste much time.
You can't afford to be backwards in coming forwards with a bobby dazzle like that. You've got to get in there, mate, before someone else does.
I miss him so much. Do anything to have him back.
Are you sure that's what you want?
This whole mess has been my fault. Dave always wanted kids, but I kept putting it off. Maybe he'd come back if he knew I was ready to start a family.
Oh, Lizzie, do you really think that's a good enough reason to bring children into the world?
Worth a try. We married for better or for worse, didn't we?
I must reluctantly return to the bosom of my family. I'll drive you to the hospital, matron.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Rose. It's about time we left the young people to let their hair down, don't you think?
An activity for which I'm obviously follically unsuited. Evening, Lizzie. Remember, my dear, the darkest hour is always before the dawn.
Talk about striking while the iron's hot. Any faster, she'd have third-degree burns.
You don't fancy him, do you?
So, anyway, what was it you were going to tell me about earlier? The big secret.
Well, you've got to promise not to tell anyone, especially not Lizzie.
Cross my heart.
It's Dave's new bird. He's got her pregnant. Or rather, she's got herself pregnant on purpose. I don't reckon David ever left Lizzie otherwise.
Oh, that's terrible. My Dave's going to be a dad. Oh, Lizzie.
You weren't meant to know.
I'm so sorry. I heard it in pub last night.
Baby. She's having his baby.
Take a deep breath, Lizzie. Let's try to sit you down.
Needs sense knocking into him somehow.
Just you will leave him alone. You weren't my Dave over my dead body.
I think what you need is a large brandy. Oh, thanks, Doctor.
And you can move back in with me and your mother, because you won't be able to afford that place once you get divorced.
Who said anything about a divorce? I'm not standing up in court so every gossip in the county knows my business.
What, you mean you'd let him get away with it? Every marriage has its ups and downs. Look at Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton.
Don't you think you deserve better, Lizzie?
If he can treat you like that, he's not worth hanging on to.
But I haven't stopped loving him, have I? And I know despite everything, he still loves me. Oh, what am I gonna do? Right, I think it's time us girls had a little chat. Come on.
Never looks this hard for the movies. Come on, get a move on. Have a lass waiting for me back there. Give it here.
Can't you see? You're liberated. You've got your freedom and your life back in one fell swoop.
Now you can do what you want when you want, without having to answer to some man. You've got the rest of your life ahead of you.
Oh, that's a comforting thought for a newlywed, thank you.
But who's going to want me at my age once I've been dumped and divorced? I'll be stuck on the shelf for the rest of my life.
Lizzie, you don't have to be defined by your relationship with a man, OK? You are Lizzie in your own right, and you are the only person that matters from now on, OK?
You will survive on your own, I promise. Remember, Lizzie, a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle.
Here, here.
Those warning signs weren't here earlier.
My guess to try and cover his back. Get out!
Oh, the camera! I've dropped the camera. What, do you fancy a return trip? That's a nice one for it back. Move!
Very nice.
Good
Thanks
night.
for coming. Good night. Thanks for having me.
Little light reading for you, Lizzie.
Ah, recruiting her to the sisterhood, are you?
Remember, don't put up with any nonsense. It's men who need us, not the other way around.
Unless they're driving you home, that is. Come on, love.
No, no, Lizzie.
Good night, Lizzie.
Good night.
Well, I think that went quite well, don't you?
Yes. Well, I mean, apart from poor Lizzie's news.
Yeah, so that's never easy, is it? Falling out of love.
Well, I hope I never have to find that out.
Well, you won't. If I've got anything to do with it.
Right, well, talking about sexual equality, why don't you give me a hand with these classes? huh?
And why don't we just wait and do the washing up in the morning, eh? Dr. Ormerod? Or is it still Dr. Weatherall?
Oh, I think Mrs. Ormerod will do just fine.
What time did you call this?
I'm really sorry, I couldn't get away. Have you been waiting long?
Long enough.
I must, sir. Thanks.
I thought you'd stub me up.
Now, why would I stand you up? Look, I'm really sorry, Mel, I mean it.
What was this emergency, anyway?
It turned out to be a false alarm. Have you ordered yet?
Not yet, no.
Well, how about we get ourselves a bottle of wine, and then maybe I could get a smile.
Oh, go on, then.
Right.
Rory. Rory, the doctor is here to see you.
Oh, sister, I was right in the middle of a really good dream. There was me and you and Dusty Springfield.
Thank you, Rory.
We got your test results through this morning.
Now, I know that I haven't been eating so good, but once I'm out of here, I'll start looking after myself a bit better.
Rory, you've got cirrhosis of the liver. The years of drinking, well, have made it impossible for the liver to process your blood properly. That's caused a backup in the circulatory system and, well, that's what caused the bleeding yesterday.
Yeah, but it stopped now, because you gave me that transfusion.
I'm afraid the damage is irreversible. There's very little we can do.
I'm going to die.
I'm sorry.
And it's the drink that done it.
It would seem so.
How long, Doctor?
Well, I'm afraid it's a matter of hours.
So my mother was right. I'm going to die in a hospital bed without a penny to my name.
Come on now, Rory.
But I can't go yet, because I'm not ready. I don't want to die.
I trust you've spent a comfortable night. Don't hesitate to make your demands known to the nurse as they arise.
Not worth the risk. She'd probably bite my head off. Pleasant evening, was it, Nurse Taylor?
Best.
Special delivery.
Any tips for today, Catrick?
Matron, Rory's gone. You didn't see him in the corridor, did you? I'll get Ken and Alan to make a search of the premises. There's no need. I think I know where he's gone.
Why'd you come to work dressed like a lamb?
Drastic, isn't it?
You're what they call male chauvinist pigs. Forget the inner woman. All you're bothered about's what I look like.
No, I'm not. Me neither.
All men are, apparently. You know what, Alan? A woman needs a fish like a man needs a bicycle.
Didn't hear you come home last night.
That's because I didn't.
I presume your date went swimmingly.
Fantastic, eventually. I really like him, Sam.
I will not have my nurses lounging about smoking on hospital premises.
Sorry, matron.
It may be the current fashion to have a cigarette dangling from your fingers at every available opportunity, but it is a vulgar, unhealthy practice and wholly inappropriate behaviour for a trainee nurse. Is that understood?
Yes, matron.
Are you bearing up?
Next time we decide on an impromptu party, let's just make sure it's a weekend, shall we?
You won't get any argument from me.
Letters for signature, doctors.
Lizzie, you look different.
Did you know that the tyranny of female fashion is just one more way that men oppress women?
Yes, I was vaguely aware of that.
Even wearing a bra is another example of men making us do things their way, apparently.
I think I'll leave you to it.
Who the hell's in charge here? I want answers, and I want them now.
If you care to come with me.
You wouldn't begrudge a man his last drink, would you? I mean, what's the worst it could do? Kill me.
You're very sick. You need to come back to the hospital.
I'm dying, woman, I'm dying. Do you ever have a drink yourself, sister?
Not for a long time now.
Yeah, my daddy's started me off. He used to give me dregs out of his glass, and he could sink a few. Oh, no. Yeah, it was his party piece, you know, watching me acting daft. Drunk as a skunk. At 12 years of age. That was it. I never stopped. And then after a while, of course, I couldn't even if I wanted to, you know. And oh, it cost me home, and my wife, and my kids. Now it's done for me. Cheers.
There's no need to be so afraid, you know.
Listen, I know that you get extra points for a deathbed conversion, but you're wasting your time with me.
Won't stop me saying a prayer for you, though.
Well, much good it'll do me. Where I'm going.
I won't leave you, Rory. You won't be alone. So why don't you come back to the hospital with me? Come on.
doorstep. That's better, isn't it?
Do you want this to happen to someone else?
If my dad won't talk to the police, why should I? They won't let me out on the boats now. It's my life over and done with. Because whoever I talk to and whatever I say, well, it's not going to bring my arm back, is it?
I know it's tough, Stan. But, well, things will get better in time.
Get lost, Doctor. Leave me alone.
A word, please, Doctor.
Is he going to involve the police?
Doesn't want to attract their attention. So you're in luck. What the hell do you think you're doing?
Well, someone had to do something.
Oh, I don't disagree, but with a top QC as a captive audience, why bother with such drastic action? I just stick to taking holiday snaps. All right, Jeff?
Why on earth are you dressed for a day on a building site?
I'm doing my bit towards ending the tyranny of physical fascism, that's why.
I beg your pardon?
Dr. Wetherill raised my consciousness last night. She's made me realise that I've been put down by men all my life. I'm not standing for it any longer. From today, I'm my own woman. I please myself, I value myself, and anyone who thinks otherwise can go whistle.
Philosophy which is to be wholly applauded. But if the new woman could find her way to wearing suitable attire for work tomorrow, it would definitely be to her advantage.
His blood pressure's down, his pulse is racing.
Looks like another bleed.
Shall I set up a transfusion?
No, I don't think that will help. The blood in his gut's tipping him into liver failure. All we can do now is keep him as comfortable as possible.
That might be a bit difficult at the moment.
I'll get on myself.
Rory, stay where you are.
Oh, for God's sake, woman, you all know that I'm dying. You know, if I had a family, they'd be here around me. But you're keeping me away from the one soul in the whole world who cares about me. Now, stuff the lot of you.
Rory! Come on, calm down.
I'd be delighted to sponsor you for membership, championship course, and an extensive selection of malts at the 19th.
I'm afraid I've never seen the point of the game myself.
Would you please consider moving out onto the ward, sir?
Goodwin, you do not address one of our private patients in that manner.
I appreciate you've paid vast sums of money to distance yourself from the great unwashed, but there's a man through there. He only has a few hours left to live, and he's having to spend them in full view of a busy ward at visiting time.
Goodwin, this time you've gone too far.
On the contrary, I'd be happy to move. I'm getting a bit of cabin fever in here, and I'm an audience for any passing bore with time on his hands. Yourself excluded, Mr. Rose.
Thank you. I was wondering if I could ask your professional opinion on the boy who lost his arm.
Goodwin, you're trying my patience.
From your account, I suspect they have a claim for compensation. The factory was clearly at fault.
I was wondering if you might have a word. His father's so intimidated by the owner of the factory, he won't even discuss legal action.
Send them to me. I'll represent them.
Representation by someone like yourself is way beyond their means.
I'd be happy to waive my fee on this occasion.
Really?
I might spend most of my time distanced from the great unwashed, but it doesn't mean I'm completely devoid of a social conscience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Anything we can do to make you more comfortable, please don't hesitate to contact myself. Any hour, night or day, I'm at your service.
Very kind, Mr. Harper.
You'll be cosy enough here once we get the telly rigged up for the racing.
I'll return these when you're discharged, sir. There's no smoking in my hospital. And Kenneth, if I hear that you've requisitioned the patient's television for personal use, I will be most displeased.
Yes, Matron.
Such presence, such delivery. She'd be a demon in court.
Hey, I got that parcel you wanted.
Good lad, let's go.
Patch, come here to me. Now, will you make sure that she's well looked after?
She'll love it at my sister's. No cats, lots of doggy mates to play with.
And, you know, you'll probably get a few bob for the accordion. Will you make sure that all that money goes to The sisters.
If that's what you want.
You're good lad, Ken. I tell you what, you're a gentleman. Now, sister, I can explain everything.
Why don't we let Rory get some rest, gentlemen?
All men are different. You can't just lump us together.
What about dads? What's it saying there about dads?
Dads are still men, aren't they? And according to us feminists, all men are like my Dave. Lying, cheating, idle wastes of space.
Well, thank you, Doctor. What are you doing, eh? Raise our Lizzie's conscience.
I've been seeing her break her heart over Dave, isn't it?
Lizzie, a feminist. Don't like it. Next thing she'll be giving her mother ideas.
Lizzie is displaying what's known as displacement activity. All this dedication to the cause is just her way of dealing with the fact that she's a bit emotionally upset. I think she might become a little less strident in a few days.
So, she'll stop calling us male chauvinist pigs, will she?
Only when you stop behaving like them. What on earth is that?
Whack. Oh, no. If you could fetch the gunny, please, Ellen.
I think it's time that Patch left the premises.
Right, sister. Come on. It meant a lot to him what you did.
Out. Please, Kenneth.
It's tragic to find out too late that you've been killing yourself by degrees.
It's nothing but a curse. The drink. The way it shatters people's lives. Tears them to pieces.
Sister?
Please, Doctor, I need to prepare Rory for the mortuary.
Of course.
Hey, Frankie, there's a good movie on in town tonight, if you fancy it.
Some other time. I'm busy tonight.
Sure, some other time.
So Sunday sat in the Saturday sun and wept for a day gone by.
That was quite an emotional outburst, young man. See yourself as a patron of the lost cause, do you?
I might have spoken out of turn, but I couldn't in all conscience just stand by and do nothing.
There's a thin line between idealism and plain insolence, Doctor, which you managed to tread with aplomb. Wasn't a sim myself at your age. Nothing ventured, eh?
Why is it every time I think I've got him worked out, he pulls something like that?
Oh, he's a bloke, isn't he? That's what you lot do all the time.
I thought you'd be out with Frankie by now.
Yeah, so did I. But he's busy.
Oh. So you wouldn't say no to a meal out?
Well, I don't suppose I would. Shall we walk?
Here's to Rory. God rest his soul.
Aye. I hope I never end up like him. Sad and drunk and on my own.
Well, there but for the grace of God, son. There but for the grace of God.
But it's the North face his first gig.
You'd better be good.
This band is really going places.
Is he gonna be all right? We're gonna deliver the baby now. He's gonna kill us all.
Stay strong, Gil. We're gonna get you out of here.